Right, a very good evening. Welcome for today's sharing. This is the second part of three parts of the 10 God series. We'll now look for a very special or a very unique element, which is the friend element or the friend star. Here in Chinese, metaphysics is yiqian, which actually means shoulder to shoulder, which means your peer, your colleague, your friend. In a way, it would also represents the you element. So usually the friend star would be an easier one to denote. It would be exactly your day master. So you look into your day master, any elements that shares the same gender and the same element would then be the friend star. So the friend star is something unique, something very special, because it mirrors your exact self. And automatically, it may not mean necessarily favorable or unfavorable, because here it also denotes sometimes more negative than positive. So in the first part, when we look into the friend star, it will be vital to know exactly which friend are you. Because when we look into the friend star, one of the key manifestations is competition, competitiveness. Because basically when you see yourself, in a way it becomes a day master that challenges or measure himself or herself as a yardstick. And competition indicates that it brings about the worst or the best of people. Yes, Jenny, I think it's being recorded, correct. The best of people in the sense that it brings about the sense of competition. Now here, as we look into all the 10 day masters, the first is the Jia wood. Now the Jia wood is the yang tree, and wood of all the elements are needy, because wood needs the earth, wood needs water, wood needs fire. And so wood sometimes also needs metal. And so when wood sees wood, it intensifies the competitiveness. Therefore, it would not be usually favorable for wood to see another wood. So wood prefers to be on its own. Therefore, when wood see wood, there are times we consider it to be territorial, we consider it to be envious. Therefore, they are aware. Because as we know, in the law of the jungle, the tallest tree gets the sunlight. Any trees or shrubs which are on a lower ground will be denied sunlight, and they won't get the rain. And therefore, for survival, they need to outdo one another. And so, friend star brings a very competitive nature for the wood. For fire, it's a bit different in a sense, especially for the pink fire. Now, the pink fire denotes the yang fire. It denotes the sun. And normally when we say that pink sees another pink, would then be somewhat like a two suns. And therefore this would be in a way out of the world. It's out of the world. So, so to have two pink fires, we more often find that they tend to be a bit more confused philosophically, whereby they do have two ideas at the same time and two concepts at the same time, which they do not know what to really do. And therefore, the performance tends to underwhelm and they tend to need to go away. So usually when we say a fire, pink fire meeting another pink fire, or pink fire another pink fire, then they need to travel or they need to work far away from where they were born. And again, can you remind me, when it comes into fire, what is very important when it comes to fire? Fire Day Masters have one special, every one of them have their own unique feature. That is correct, Jenny, that's correct. When you look into Fire Day Masters, the time of birth is very important, the time of birth. So time of birth is crucial. Pink Day Master should be born in the afternoon or during the day. Pink Fire is best to be born at night. And therefore, if Pink Fire is born during the day, then they feel underwhelmed as they are not able to shine. So in a way, we do see that fire meeting fire is also not fantastically beneficial. Now as we come into earth meeting earth, especially the earth, mountain meeting mountain, when we look into the branches, earth meeting earth is normally a clash, a bullying punishment. When we find the dragon meeting the dog, therefore there is always the clash. So it's earthquake is moving house, changing job. Therefore, earth meeting earth normally results in moving, either moving a house or moving a job. There is always a clash between them. The earth meeting the earth, mother nature meeting mother nature. The earth people tends to be a very good people person. They tend to be nurturing. They talk a lot. Therefore, the earth meeting the earth, not bad, not bad. So it's fine, to which of course they do see that there's a bit more welcoming. So Chi Earth meeting Chi Earth is not too bad, so to speak. Alright, and we come to the metal. Now metal meeting metal clash. Meeting metal clash. Now, Keng metal is about benevolence. Keng metal is about justice, righteousness, the kind of brotherhood, fight for justice. And so Keng metal meeting Keng metal is quarrelsome. As they tend to quarrel on principles, they tend to clash on their ideologies. Sin metal. Sin metal is the diamond, is the shiny, which is vanity and branding. And therefore, sin metal meeting sin metal is like two supermodels meeting each other in a party, jealousy, and want to outshine each other. And sin metal is about plotting and scheming. Therefore, when they meet together, that will also be a form of competition, as it is. As we come into the water, water is fine. Water meeting water blends to each other because water mix very well. And of course, water is also about wisdom, intellectual, thoughts, emotions. Therefore, as they meet each other, then they would be quite amicable, all the same. Rainwater especially. Koi water, not so. Koi water is like the mist, the wind, and they can mix very well, but koi water themselves are lonely people to begin with. So I mean, if you're in a party and you put two lonely people together, they're okay, they're not hostile, but it's just that they just don't really care about each other to begin with, something like that. Okay, so in a way, we can see that when friend meeting friend, as we read along, all more the better, more often than not, it is not too positive. But of course, now as we go into the 10 gods and we see how each of them interact with one another. And so friend star represents the siblings, the friends, the peers, the colleagues, the business. And so when we look into the friend star has a structure or has a facade, we see that friend normally represents a business person, a partner, so to speak, a shareholder, an entrepreneur. And that would be the key aspects of friend. So if there are few words to denote people who have friend structure, the structure is a friend, is competitive. They're very competitive and they intend to work together to get people to come together. Therefore, that would be the friend. And perhaps sometimes we see that the friend structure, there's a new word that has come up which is called frenemy. So frenemy. So frenemy is a jargon that we now use, which is appropriately describe what friend star can be. And for those who do not know, anybody wants to type what does frenemy actually mean? So in our today's language, it actually means that it's both a friend and a enemy. It's a friend and an enemy. And so here, as we look into both the friend star and the rock wealth, that's how we intend to look at it. So again, as we consider, we always want to find out where the friend is. So number one, we always look into the structure. So as we look into the person's structure, or the person's fasa, or the person's month stamp to look into their career, what is visible to them. And so now as we explore the friend star for each and every one of them. And of course, for those who wants to look for a person's so-called inclination, friend star also means your own gender, same gender. Therefore, if the friend star is strong and affinity is strong, and it opposes the officer star for the females and a wealth star for the females, then perhaps we may find that a strong females a friend star also denote that there is inclination for the day master to like the same gender. They are attracted to the same gender. Therefore, that would be also the measurement for what a friend star is all about. So we have to explore all kinds of who are the people with the friends. Alright, so today's is the second part where we now explore the arriving of the friend star. So earlier on, as I mentioned, when meeting friends, so when Jia Wood meeting Jia Wood, Yi Wood meeting Yi Wood, and so usually in the first part, when each of them are meeting each other, there is a tendency to strength. And now let's take a look into a bigger case now of the arriving luck pillar. So today, second sharing is about looking into a person's chart, and then looking into the arrival of the luck pillar. Let's explore this person's chart. Before I explore this person's chart, a bit of an introduction. This person is by the name of Masayoshi Son. Masayoshi Son at one time, for a very brief moment, was the richest person on earth. He is technically an investor. He owns some investment management company. He gained popularity when he invested big time in Alibaba, and his funds was tremendously successful. But then, the company that he has founded and managed, which is called SoftBank, have also seen spectacular failures. And therefore, successes and failures were mixed. And therefore, he was also criticized for not making the right decision. So as you look at the chart, we want to take a few perspectives. Number one is that if you are an investor, if you would like to invest, the question is whether would you like to follow this person? Would you like to invest through this person? Today also I chanced upon an article that talk about Warren Buffett, another popular investor, to which his fund Berkshire Hathaway has resulted in a huge, substantial amount of fortunes for the investors. So the investors have, those who followed him loyally, has made good money. So now here, would there be wisdom to follow this person, this Masayoshi Son? Now in the first part, as we look into today's friend star, this person doesn't have a friend structure. This person has a direct officer structure with a facade that is an eating god. Therefore, eating god gave the impression to the world, the first impression that this person is analytical. This person is very good in research. That is also one part, the eating god structure. So now what we have covered in the past, we have covered 7 killing, and we have covered direct resource. Would there be anything that we want to consider here? Now, first of all, to determine whether a person can be a very good decision maker, what do we look for? You want to see whether the person is a very good general, a very good so-called strategist or a planner. What would be the stars we look for? And what are the things we see whether should or should not do? For power and authority, we look for, remember, direct officer. And when you see direct officer, what do you not want to see? True, but based on what we see is officer star, what is another officer star besides direct officer? 7 killing. Huh? So when it comes to officer star, either one or the other. It's not good to have both. Huh? It's not good to have both, either one or the other. Therefore, when we look into officer, confusion, that is correct. We would like to, therefore, there's a direct officer, 7 killing, confusion. That's one thing. Huh? So as we look at it, we prefer not to have two. Huh? All right, therefore, that's one. Okay, but come, let's go back to our basic as well. This person, what is the day master for this person? Yi Wood, so this is a Yi Wood day master, born in autumn, born in summer. No, the month is actually Keng metal, Shen monkey. So monkey is the first month of autumn. So it's actually born on the growth month of autumn. So therefore, in the month of autumn, wood is weak. Wood is weakening. Therefore, this is a weak day master. It's a weak day master. Born in autumn. And the fasa is anything god. Now, when we look into wood, wood needs what? Ye wood needs what? Ye wood either needs Chi earth or it needs Chia wood. Therefore, ye wood either needs Chi earth or it needs Chia wood to survive. Because a ye wood is a plant, a flower that needs support for it to survive and prosper. And so here we see that we are looking at a Yiwood day master sitting on what? Sitting on what? Sitting on friend. All right, which is out today. So therefore, we are looking into a day master sitting on friend. Sitting on friend essentially means sitting on your own element. Sitting on your own element makes this element rooted, that is correct, and make this element pure. Therefore, this is a pure wood day master. So it's pure wood day master. And rabbit, of course, is rabbit. This is a rabbit. So rabbit is a peach blossom. Therefore, the energy is pig, wood pig. So this day master is not truly very weak. It's rooted, even though it's born out of season. But at least you understand. So slowly begin to understand the day master. Okay, but now let's take a look into the person's luck pillar, shall we? So take a look into what are the 10 years. Now, 10 years, the 10 years luck pillar means that whatever arriving energies that come, they are not permanent. So 10 years is quite long enough to have a big influence on your life. But whatever influence they are is a passage of time. It's a passage of time. So this is where sometimes when we look at a person, when we want to form a judgment, we make judgment based on past record. Now, I'm sure for those of you who you must have heard this many, many times before, when we make investment decisions, we make decisions based on what we think will happen in the future, not what has happened in the past. So all investments normally comes with this disclaimer that says past record and past performance is no true measure of future performance, as usual. And so as we look into Masayoshi Son, from a perspective of whether we should invest in him or not, or whether we want this person to be part of us, associated, and so on. So that's where we look at the Pachi chart. This chart is missing the hour. Therefore, missing the hour means we don't have the complete information. And if this person is fire, then it's even more important to see the time pillar. But this person is a yi wood, so missing the time, well, it's quite bad, but not too bad. Yeah, not as bad as those with Ting Fire Day Master. And so as you look into the pillar, as we know, and so for this person's luck pillar will change upon the anniversary of every one, on the 11th birthday, 21st, 31, and so on. Therefore, we have to explore the luck pillar and to see when this person will change. And a few things comes to mind. Number one, we see the arriving luck pillar at a very tender age of 20 to 30, which is the Yit Wood Day Master. Now, having your luck pillar protruding to the stems, having the luck pillar with the stem protruding to the stem marks it a very significant luck pillar. Significant. Huh? Therefore, whenever the luck pillar has exactly the identical stem to any of the pillars, that marks it a very important luck pillar to consider. Okay, so anyway, we are not going to look at the Ting Fire luck pillar. That's not our focus for today. So our focus for today is to look at the Yi luck pillar. So this will be the wood snake, because this is a Yi wood meeting a Yi wood. So for friend meeting the day master. So as we said that the friend star meeting the day master, this would make it a very significant luck pillar, life-changing, very defining. And especially when it happens at such a young age, it defines even further. That means it shapes the future, influence the future of the person's career. Oh, by the way, just by the way, the next luck pillar is the Rockwell Gold Blade. Okay. So let me just so spoiler alert. Rockwell Gold Blade is the worst of the 60 pillars you can have. And for you to have a luck pillar that is your Rockwell Gold Blade, that is Kalyan, very, very bad. Okay, so anyway, that is correct. That is correct. Jenny, you're right. Financial losses. So actually, spoiler, just a cheat code. If you ask, should I invest in this person? No, no, no. The moment the person sees a Rockwell Goblet, the answer is no. So no lah. Okay, but anyway, let's, maybe if it is a no, but then the answer is today today the person is here already. The Rockwell Goblet has already passed for some time. Therefore over already, over, the decade is over. Okay, so anyway, that would be just how we look into the luck pillar to see the changing issue. Okay, so therefore, this guy will be expected to find significant losses. So this is not the Warren Buffett that we are looking for. This guy is expected to see huge. So even though this is a billionaire, yep, this is a billionaire. This person ranks on a very top list of billionaires. It will be very good. Okay, but here we also see that vast majority of his investments have also failed spectacularly. Also failed very, very big time. Okay, so now let's focus on how to read the luck pillar. So, of course, the luck pillar that is a friend is a very significant one. A friend star luck pillar is significant. So for the 10 gods, you hit the friend star luck pillar. Therefore, it's a very defining moment. Okay, so now the next part is how to interpret them. Okay, I mean, you're significant. Yeah, okay, okay, fine, fine, significant. Now, significant, of course, one thing, I'm sure you know this. Uh, of all the friend star, which are there are six of them, so there are six types of friend star you can get. How many types of friend pillar is there? How many types of friend pillar can we get? What else is there? How many? There are six. There are six of these Yeatwood Day Master that you can get. So what are they? Yeatwood. This is Yeat, which is a snake. What else is there? Yeat which is what? An ox. What else is there? Yeat which is what? Which is your rabbit. What else is there? What else is there? Yeat. Okay. Therefore, we have your Yeat, which is what? Your pig. And what else is there? Yeat. Okay. Therefore, you have which is what? And Yeat, which is what? Your rooster. Okay, so there are six types. There are six types. Now, so there are six types and how the significance comes to see this person. Now, first and foremost, let's take care of the easy one first. The one with the exact pillar. The one with the exact pillar for this person will be what? The rabbit. Yes, that is right. Therefore, this will be your Fuyin. So Fuyin, of course, would be also another sad pillar, very, very sad pillar. Also results in losses, results in, they call it the big cry. So there's some kind of a crying moment, which actually denote quite a challenges as well. Okay, so in a way, we consider that one of it is a Fuyin and see whether is it a Fuyin or not. Now, even though it's just a Fuyin, and in this Fuyin, if ever Masayoshi Son has a Fuyin, which is not in the luck pillar, so he doesn't have one in the luck pillar, so it can only fall into a year, so it's only 1 year, so annual, that is right now. Of course, every 5 years there will be 1 month, every 5 years there will be 1 month, every 60 years there will be 1 year, and luckily for him, there is no Fuyin luck pillar because that is the entire 10 years. That is significant. Okay, so Fuyin will be not so bad for him, but now so this is not to worry. But so here for the case of Masayoshi Son, it will be a snake. So therefore, the significant one comes in the form of a snake. And so what? And so what now? So what is this snake and how will this snake interact? Now, of course, you have to look into the snake in the interaction of the rest, in the interaction of the rest. So when the snake arrives, what do we have? When the snake arrives, there is going to be a partial combo. 四有and 四有 form what? That's right. 四有丑. Chou is your 四有丑 is of course indicating that this is going to be your ox. Therefore, in the year of the ox, then when the ox arrives, it forms a combination. What combination? Combination of metal. And what is metal? What is metal for? This Yeatwood Day Master. Metal is officer. It's the officer pillar. Which of course, very good in a way. It shows that this pillar will have result in some official title. There's an official title. An official title is good, promotion, escalation, which of course indicates there's going to be a significant motion that results in your career to your boss as it is. Now, of course, if this is a female, as we know, officer style also denote husband. And therefore, this may be the pillar, the year that If it's a female, then there is a marriage luck, the marriage luck or anything. So if this is a female, chances are she will get married in the office lah, because the direct officer is here in her career pillar later. So she might have a puppy love during young, but then she'll get married by meeting someone in the career pillar in this particular age during the year of the ox. So anyway, now mind we can consider then the first part that comes in here. All right, so now let's look into the next part. This pillar is sitting on what? Sitting on what? This is sitting on hurting officer. Okay, so now we have a luck pillar that is friend sitting on. You have a friend star sitting on hurting officer. So what does friend star sitting on hurting officer would mean? Okay, so now here we have to look into what does it mean. Now the issues represented here represents those that is the arriving luck pillar, the arriving luck pillar. So when the luck pillar arrives, now of course when I say luck pillar, it is 10 years, but it's the same thing with annual pillar. And if you want month, a day don't waste your time, it's just a month each one. A day pillar means what? Yeah, you have a lunch appointment with your brother, that one no need to forecast. Okay, a month pillar also not too significant. Okay, so anyway, we either look for annual reading. So when we do annual reading, if the friend star arrive, or we do luck pillar, which is a more significant portion, and of course for friend, even more significant than any other luck pillar, because it's you. It is like the pillar is about you. The pillar is not about your career. That means it's not about your career. It's not about your family. It's about you. Therefore, that's why it's more significant than others. So usually problems, usually problems. Usually, not, usually doesn't sound very positive one. Okay. Therefore, more often than not, meeting friend is not the best. Not the best. But of course, we take it. We take it as it is. We can see it usually, but of course, we have to go deeper than just usually. You have to more or less investigate the part. And now let's take a look into where the friends start meeting. So, okay, so let's go into the part where the friends start meeting let's go into sitting on. We're going to sitting on. And we're going to sitting on, let's take a look into, we're going to skip the rest first and just go into the one that is applicable. So this will be the friend star sitting on the hurting officer star. Friend star sitting on hurting officer. Now in the first part, friend star sitting on hurting officer is unlucky. It's unlucky. And why do we consider it to be unlucky? So in the first part, you generally consider the reading to be unlucky. So why is sitting on area unlucky? Now into the first part, we consider that there is a productive, there's a productive cycle. Meaning to say that the wood produces fire. Therefore, the wood produces hurting officer. So we consider that there is the production relationship. So it's a production relationship. So in that case, the friend star produces the hurting officer. In a way, the hurting officer weakens the friend star. So in this context, then it is not too lucky, in a way. But what is the hurting officer about? And how do we consider the continuing reading of? So let's continue. So the friend star produces the hurting officer. So the nature of the friend star is weak. Now again, for those who are able to read Chinese, I put the Chinese text on top because sometimes when we translate, then it becomes a bit biased. Then it is my translation. which of course one should not just rely on my translation alone. Then it will be limited by my personal experience, my personal perspective into how I look at things. Yeah. So if anything, go back to the original source and then of course interpret from there. If I have made a mistake or if I have not interpreted correctly, then let me know. And furthermore, it's not easy to interpret ancient texts because the words that may be used hundreds of years ago carry a different meaning as we use these words today. Okay, but anyway, let's just try to make our best. What are we trying to interpret from these words? So here it means that the nature of the friend star is weak, the nature of the hurting officer is strong. Therefore indicating that sitting on hurting officer strengthen hurting officer. Hurting officer is generally perceived to be an unfavorable sign. Hurting officer, okay, once again, bear in mind that the text, once again, all these ancient texts were written based on the value systems of, well, the ancient society. The Confucianism kind of element that seeps in after the Tang Dynasty. So therefore, this is a part whereby we have to see, especially women. So the old ancient texts normally find that hurting officers are unfavorable for women. It makes women rebellious. It makes women hurting their male counterpart, something like that. Okay, but again, this is the society where we expect the women to be more subversive, not too strong and not too independent. Therefore, this reading may trigger some feminists of today. Okay, by the way, that will be just how we can try to bring this text to today's level. Okay, so hurting officer indicates that the good intentions will not be rewarded, and the good intentions will tend to hurt the status quo. So in a way, the friend star sitting on hurting officer would indicate that the person tends to put the self-interest more than family. Therefore, will sacrifice family for comfort. All right. So in a way, that would be just the thing to consider. But if we take a look into the today's context, and for the case of Masayoshi Son, hurting officer in the today's world, in a freer society, hurting officer indicates rebellion. Hurting officer indicates contrarian. Hurting officer indicates that you go against the crowd, that your thinking has to be opposite to market convention. So a contrarian strategy, one that goes against what the market thinks, and also the one that fights for change. That's right, opposition. Therefore, if join politics, join opposition party. And so here, once again, as I mentioned, the old texts are no most of the metaphysicians are they work for the emperor. So when you work for the emperor, of course, you are pro-government. So any hurting officer element, the opposition party, and of course you don't welcome. So the literature tends to find that these are not the best element. But if you look at it today, it can be very good. And for Masayoshi Son, it was good. But the idea is, when you have this luck pillar, then do it. Do it. So we will want to consider that the remedy, if there's anything of a remedy. So in a way, remedy can be important because why? If you read ancient texts, the remedy tends to suppress what element they don't like. So if they think that hurting officer is not good, suppress it. That would be the old remedy. But the new remedy of today, in a world of fintech, in a world of technology, in a world where markets are more globalized, now the remedy is now relook at a different area. The remedy is, if this is your card, you play your card. And therefore, if you are hurting officer, you become hurting officer. And go the best and be the best hurting officer you can be. Okay, so coming back to Masayoshi Son, what happened in this luck pillar was where he took the view that was contrarian. He took the view that he expected to change. And what is the technology for fire? What is the sign for fire? Technology. So fire is also technology. And so if Masayoshi Son was a 21-year-old chap coming to you for your reading, and then you read his chart, and this luck pillar hits the jackpot, it is the friend star. And the friend star sits on hurting officer in the fire luck cycle. And therefore, what should he do? Well, the friend star is the defining moment for his life. So something significant must be done here. And what is that significant? Contrarian strategy, change, coming up with an idea that goes against the market convention, and the theme can be technology. And so in a way, we would see that for the person Masayoshi Son, that was the year where he formed his first investment company, and he began to invest. And this is also the part where hurting officer has ability to make good money. Why would he have the ability to make good money? Because hurting officer produces direct wealth. Officer stars produces wealth. And therefore, hurting officer is a make money star. It is the producing star. As it produces the star, it goes against the relatives. It goes against the family. So this is a part whereby ancient Confucian society, of course, do not look too favorably if you value money over family members. Especially hurting officer is where you sacrifice your family to the extent of pursuing your. Alright, but anyway, in the today's world, uh, yet again, we find that family nucleus is now smaller. Family units are now no longer the extended large family. And therefore, today, we don't really look into your cousins and your uncles and to consider your decisions. So that is generally, normally, that's fine. Alright, so therefore, this is where friend star sitting on hurting officer would be considered to be the time to make money, but the money must be based on challenging the convention. To find that you, in a way, if it is difficult to find out what to do, then the contrarian strategy is always to do the opposite. Not to follow the mainstream, and to find a decision that tends to be more contrarian by nature. Okay, so this is a friend star sitting on a hurting officer. That would be how the luck pillar comes in. Now, what do we expect? But again, let's broaden the measure. If this is a female, then again we read that the hurting officer is one thing, but this is a Sir Yu Cho. So therefore, this is the combination. So this have to be read a bit careful, because the Trinity represents the officer luck, even though this is hurting officer. So indicating that actually the reading will be tilted towards the Trinity. Therefore, there is increasing luck to meet a life partner. Because if not looking into the Trinity, then one would say that, oh, you're looking for a husband, is it? No luck, no luck this 10 years, huh? Because this one is hurting officer, hurting husband star. So this year, no luck. Next year, rot wealth, good wealth, no luck. Therefore, oh, like that, then you got no luck at all. Too bad for you. So not really, so that's not really the case. All right. So anyway, this will be looking at it from your friend star sitting on hurting office. Now, what happens if it is? What happens? Let's say, let's just play the scenario. We don't have too many charts. What happens if it is a rooster? If it's a rooster, what would it be sitting on? If it's a rooster, it will be sitting on 7 killing. If it's a rooster, it will be sitting on 7. So how about sitting on 7 killing? Is that good? Is it for hurting officer to sit on 7 killing? Now, of course, generally 7 killing is catastrophe, because 7 killing controls the friends. Now, friend star are people who can work very hard on them, and 7 killing means you got a vicious boss. Therefore, combined together, life is miserable. Therefore, will be tremendously very busy at work. Very, very busy. Moreover, 7 killing also represents criminals, represents theft and so on. Therefore, this will be the scenario where it will be quite the weakening. Moreover, friend weakens the direct resource, indicating illnesses. So as a result, sitting on 7 killing becomes unfavorable. Unfavorable. So generally, more often than not, 7 killing has a luck pillar. Not 7 killing on your chart. 7 killing on the chart is about your courage and your measurement. The 7 killing from a luck pillar comes in, normally means usually negative. So friend star sitting on 7 killing, if you rank, is quite bad. One of the worst. So indicating that, of course, Fu Yin is also quite bad, but sitting on 7 killing makes it even worse. Therefore, sitting on 7 killing makes it even so. Friend sitting on 7 killing, indicating legal issues, lawsuits, and so on. And moreover, there is already a rooster here, another 7. And therefore, combined together, this 7 killing and this 7 killing here will indicate that the lawsuit may come from external. Therefore, it may bring also some publicity from the public, because the year pillar represents the public. Right. Now, what happens if it is a friend star sitting on goat? Friend star sitting on goat, wait, what will that be? What will goat represents? Goat is earth. And earth is what? What is earth to a Yi Wood Day Master? Indirect wealth. So if you sit on indirect wealth, or you have a friend Yi Yu in an hour pillar running on Yi Yu luck, oh gosh, that would be Fu Yin now on your investments and your children. That's going to be quite right now for a luck. Okay, so if you sit on indirect wealth, what will be your reading? Sitting on indirect wealth. Sitting on indirect wealth for the male represents father. Indirect wealth represents father. represents the girlfriend. Combined together, very bad. Therefore, this would indicate girlfriend-related issues. Sitting on indirect wealth anticipates relationship issues with for the male with the women, encountering health problems because it also affects your resource into one. Financial loss, because indirect wealth is also about loss. So friend star sitting on indirect is not favorable either. Wow, no good news one. Everything also don't look good. As I mentioned, so that's why friend as it is. But once again, good or no good is just the reading. The remedy can turn it around. The remedy can turn it, can make it into one of your best pillar. For the case of Masayoshi Son, it was the best pillar. This was one of his better pillar. That's where he founded the company, make good money, and start to invest, and then gain fame from it. But unfortunately, the next pillar runs into the Rockwell Gold Blade, and then later on couldn't make money. Therefore, he lost quite a lot of money that he has made during that period. So one pillar make money, the other pillar lost back a lot, into one part. Okay, so now let's take a look into the peak. The peak. What does the peak represent? The peak represents what? The peak represents water. And what is water to a wood day master? And so the peak represents the rainwater, a resource. So now sitting on resource. Generally, sitting on resource. If you don't read too much, it can also actually means not bad. Usually, sitting on resource is tend to be fair. Sitting on direct resource would be good. Sitting on direct resource would be good. So therefore, sitting on direct resource, because the direct resource produces the friend stuff. Therefore, there will be great benefit. Because why? Direct resource may represent success on the sideline, and friend star represents partnership. So combined together, there will be noble people supporting your career and your partnership. Noble people becoming partners. And therefore, sitting on direct resource is one of the best you can find for friend star. And so if you see a luck pillar with friend sitting on resource. Sorry? Sitting on direct resource, people, this is Zheng Yin. Zheng Yin is Bi Jian Zhuo Zheng Yin. Therefore, it is sitting on direct resource. Okay, so this is direct resource. Sitting on direct resource. Good, But sitting on indirect resource is not good. Sitting on indirect resource is considered to be inauspicious and fierce. The English proverb for this is a rolling stone gathers no moss. Why? Because a friend star is hardworking. A friend star is very competitive. But indirect resource is scatterbrain. So a very hardworking but scatterbrain is one who works very hard but too interested in a wide variety of topics. Therefore, one year do technology, another year do property, another year do trading. A rolling stone gathers no moss. And so sitting on indirect resource will be, because the indirect resource rejects the friend star. Indirect resource rejects. Not very ngam one. Indirect resource and friend star not very conducive. They don't find themselves really sticking to each other very well. Direct resource as it is. I mean, what is the The indirect resource for the heat wood. The indirect resource for the heat wood is water, and that would be the kueh water, the kueh water. Therefore, with the kueh water, therefore, it's not really one that fits very nice into one. So in the case here, sitting on indirect resource makes it a rebel without a cause. Therefore, they are scheming, and for marriage, not smooth, especially when it is sitting on an indirect resource, usually considered to be quite. Now again, all these things takes with a good amount of salt, has the judgment of good and bad, is also premised on ancient value systems. Yeah. And so with today, sometimes we find that with better technology, there are also many opportunities for sitting on indirect resource to prosper and make good career out of it. Because now with Instagram and social media and the ability to get access to a lot of tools, a jack of all trades can also be can also make a very good career in today's world. I mean, back in those days when careers are more selected, more difficult, you have to be an apprentice. You have to be loyal to your masters, serve for many years to become an expert. And therefore, and in today's world, if you keep changing jobs and jumping around, you might actually end up with higher salary. And you can also pick up a few skills altogether. But what it also means is that sitting on indirect resource, it is best to be. So in this context, it is best to be a consultant. It is best to be self-employed. Indirect resource people, best to be self-employed. When you combine with friend stars sitting on indirect, you make a very good, knowledgeable, cut across a very broad array of knowledge and skills. Okay, that means you know a bit about law, you know a bit about IT, you know a bit about everything. Therefore, making a very broad general. So be a general manager, not so much of a specialist, but a general point of view itself. Therefore, that is sitting on direct resource. Okay, now sitting on direct officer. Sitting on direct officer for the female, sitting on husband. Therefore, usually it would be either good or bad, depending on whether the direct officer is a useful god or a harmful one. If it is a harmful god, then it will be about power. It's about scrambling for power, scheming and plotting, and trying to survive. Right? And of course, if it is a useful god, then it will be one that is very stable. And for the female, this will be sitting on the husband. So therefore, there will be a good one. Okay, along the line, let's just wrap it up. And now we take a look into sitting on direct wealth. Sitting on direct wealth is also another good one. So at the end of the day, sitting on direct wealth and sitting on direct resource are the two positive ones. All else would be negative. And for male, direct wealth is your wife. Therefore, friends sitting on the wife represents good marriage. Good marriage, a happy marriage, a comfortable one. Therefore, that would be the case of looking into a friend star sitting on that. Okay, so all in all, I believe I've covered all of them. Therefore, we look into friends sitting on all of them. Right. Okay, two more to go. Let's just write for two more to go. Friends sitting on rock wealth. Quite a very bad one. Friends sitting on rock wealth is quite a bad one. Actually, for friend to sit on rock wealth, not too many, not too many. Because rock wealth is the same element. So how can you sit on the same element? The only chance is either water or either water or what? Either water or fire. I hope you know what I mean. Huh? Okay. I mean, if you are Ren, what would be friends sitting on rock wealth? What would be it? What would be friends sitting on rock wealth? Huh? It's not very common. Right? It's not very common. Not very common for friend to sit on rock wealth. You find them in water. Right? You find them in water. Why? Because if you are a Ren water day master, to have a friend star is to have your own element. To sit on a rock wealth is to sit on an opposite element. Therefore, you find that in water. You also find it in what? You also find that in beside water. Then what else do you also find? You also find them in. You also find them in fire. You also find them in fire. Pink what? Pink what? Pink. Huh? Pink. Therefore, you also find them in this. Therefore, generally, friend meeting Rockwell is actually not too many. You don't find too many. Yeah? You don't find too many. Can we find them in our Yewood Day Master? Can we find them in our Masayoshi Son? Don't think you can. Don't think you can. Because Yi Mao is already friend sitting on friend. And so if you also Yi, what else? What else is there? What else beside Mao? What else can you get? Not Yin ma. There's no Yi Yin. Sorry, this is not it. Don't have, isn't it? You can't get we Yi no, also don't have. Therefore, not really. Okay. So anyway, friends sitting on rock belt, not too many. Only very few. But if it is very bad, very bad, very bad. Great omniscience, very bad. Suffer losses, suffer losses. Family can be broken up, quarrels and breakup. Because in a way, friend represents partners. Rock wealth also represents partners. Basically, friend and rock wealth are opposite, so therefore they become opposite elements of the same nature. So this creates a very tense competition amongst one the other. And so as a result, there is affinity for them to work together, also for them to fight and betray one another. Therefore, that is usually the very obvious type of friend sitting on rock. Not too many and not good. Okay, now the other part is, of course, friends sitting on eating God. This is good. This is so friend star and eating God are side by side. They are very good because the friend star essentially also produce the eating God, but at least they are not direct. Therefore, usually things would be very good. Therefore, friend star is hardworking and helpful. Eating God is also represents blessing, good fortune, talents to make money. So friend star producing eating God, producing wealth, also represents a very strong, good, conducive relationship. And so in a way, we see that if you have a friend star and an eating God, that would be very nice. A friend star with an eating God is a very strong combination. And so as you come into Masayoshi Son, as you come into his chart, is there eating God or not? Is there an eating God structure? Therefore, you see there's an eating God. So therefore, here we do see the arrival of the friend star that produces the eating God also indicates that The eating god is in the year pillar. It represents external facade. It represents public. Therefore, the friend star would also generate a visibility on the publicity. So therefore, this will be the case where, so three altogether, the best is eating god. The best you find is eating god. When friend star producing eating god. So eating god will be one of the better structure here themselves. So friend star with eating god will come in. So anyway, we want to consider the results of friend star and eating god combined together. Makes it a very good one itself. All right. So anyway, this will be just how to consider when you have friend star and eating god. So again, when you have an eating god fasa with a friend structure, day master, also a very good combination. Therefore, here we see Eisenhower with an eating god fasa with a friend structure, where the friend producing, because the friend produce, but not direct, and therefore this creates a very strong so-called combination. So it would be even better. It would be even better if this is friend. If you have a day master, you got friend, and you got eating god. This is even better. This is very, very good. Very, very good. Eating god has your has your fasa, friend has your career, and that would be fantastic. Very, very strong. For Eisenhower, a president of the United States, for him to reach to that level, he also has the natal chart for what it takes. Okay, there you go. So this will be how we look into the arriving luck pillar, and we check whether the arriving luck pillar is one of friend. That would be one of the most significant luck pillar the person can face, and then sitting on what, that would be the reading. And if you are unsure or you forgot all the details for today, the summary is more bad than good, more negative than positive. One of them is really a full yin. Let's put it this way. And most of the friend sitting is not so harmonious. Right? It brings a lot of turbulence to the person's life. But again, look at it very carefully and then see how the remedy can turn around and make it fantastic for the person. All right, that's it for today. Thank you very much. So I will see you next week for the third and the last part for the friend stuff. All right, thank you. Very good.